You are being programmed.
Tear down this wall.
Walls and bricks are an integral part of our existence. But why?
Tear down this wall.
I carry my own church about under my own hat, said I. Bricks and mortar won't make a staircase to heaven. I believe with your master that the human heart is the best temple. The brick of my life is music, but the mortar is my faith. The road to the city of emeralds is paved with yellow brick.
Tear down this wall.
How ironic, walls can keep you safe and also keep you out. So we're talking about walls and bricks. Well, the building blocks of life are carbon. And remember, Janice's number is 11, doorway, portal, and the atomic mass adds to 11. 1 add 2, add 1 add 7 equals 11. And look, you get CC, which is 33, so you're getting a lot of things in this. And of course we get this, the famously 666 of 6 protons, 6 neutrons and 6 electrons, the mark of the beast, supposedly.
Tear down this wall.
Lighting converter, and as always, I'm going to be honest, you do sometimes get carbon and the lighting being very for a reason, but a few times, more times than not, it comes out at Ipsum. So, you know, I have to tell you guys that. So, if you're wondering what Ipsum means or is, here's a few things. Curia de Ipsum means cure yourself. Medica cura te ipsum, physician cure yourself, or noscere te ipsum, know yourself. So basically, thyself, yourself is ipsum. So we're talking about walls, and obviously carbon, and it's you. So it is fitting, but also, where is it? There is more. So you can see, English translation for ipsum means very, as well as ipsum and carbon. More meanings for ipsum: himself, yourself, thyself, love yourself, engineering, interesting, pudding, carbon, careers, self-same, marketing, very important, and itself. So you can see it's just interesting that even the word carbon in line means ipsum, which is about thyself. I just want to show you another coincidence. Well, we don't believe in it, but recently we just had the G7 summit in Cornwall in the United Kingdom, actually called a place called Carbis Bay, and we know what the G7 stands for. Anyway, look at the Carbis etymology. Carbis, from its far older Cornish name of car bonds, carbon. So the place that we're having the meeting, its old Cornish name is Carbon. So I just had to include this because of the symbology of the area and what they were actually, you know, there's a lot of people that's gone into it more deeply, but I just wanted to mention just this aspect of the etymology on carbis because it's carbon. So you might be wondering, why am I making a video about walls, bricks? Well, if you don't remember my Dendera mystery, a video not long done, please check it out. This is where I first came across depictions of people giving birth on bricks, and as you can see, this is a depiction from Persia. Now, is it all metaphorically, or is there something really deep, and why we are connected to walls and bricks? Is it all in our psyche? Well, in this video I want to go through what I can find. Here's an ancient hieroglyph meaning to give birth. It depicts a squatting position or the use of a birthing stool or birthing bricks. And in ancient Egypt they used to paint the birthing bricks to stand or kneel over a scooped out hole, or they sat on a birthing stool or chair, and obviously we know how they give birth today. So this is what this video is all about. What can I find about bricks, walls, stones, you name it, it's gonna go in it. And this is Meshkenet, an ancient Egyptian deity of birth. Here she's depicted as a birth brick with a woman's head She could also be depicted as a woman with a symbolic uterus on her head. So guys, hopefully you're in for a ride, because it's interesting me, so hopefully it's interesting you. Right guys, here we are. I'm going to show you some more context on birthing bricks and how deep this really goes. Obviously it's not my information, but I can only show you and share what I find. And this is talking about birth bricks, potter's wheels and Exodus. I'm not going to read you too much because it goes on about other things. But this is talking about how in chapter 1 of the book of Exodus, the king of Egypt gives instructions to the two midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, to kill the male Hebrew children as a means of controlling the growing population of Hebrews in Egypt. The Hebrew of the passage is not particularly difficult, with the exception of one term, and obviously I can't read Hebrew. The problematic word is obnaim. This word is a virtual hapex, and commentators have argued for numerous translations of abayim. The only other attestation of the word in biblical Hebrew is in Jeremiah 18:3. However, the context of the use of the term is not childbirth but ceramic production. Despite the Jeremiah passage, the best interpretation of this term understands it as a reference to some kind of birthing equipment, most likely a birthing brick. This reading is widely held, although other suggestions are frequently offered, that this term is best understood as a birth brick. However, it is apparent based on linguistic evidence, based on Mesopotamia and Hittite analogy, based on well-documented Egyptian practices, and based on the actual discovery of a birth brick uncovered in a recent Yale, Pennsylvania expeditions at Middle Kingdom Abydos. Furthermore, given the strong evidence for reading obnaim explicitly as birth bricks, Kilmer suggesting that the brick acted as a symbol for the construction life can be supported and extended to demonstrate that childbirth and clay production activities were at least semiotically related. So it's talking about how the clay bricks and birthing are both together. And basically this just goes on to talk about other things. As you can see, it says most other translations that by him in Exodus 1:16 reflect the belief that this must be some kind of birth equipment. So interesting, and I've got so much now to show you and share with you guys. Website, and it's talking about bricks of birth, the names of the 3 bricks upon which Mary gave birth. So according to this, Mary, the mother of Jesus, gave birth to Jesus on bricks. The National Library in Vienna houses a unique document, a fragmentary sheet of paper from the 11th century. That number again. Basically containing the following short magical text: the names of the 3 bricks upon which Mary gave birth: Achmerak, Kuaramak and Acher. Now it could be, obviously I've not saw the document, so it could be any Mary, but the way these are stating it, it is obviously Jesus and the way they're talking. Why is this text so interesting? It seems to attest that the use of birth bricks in the 11th century Egypt and their association with Egyptian Christianity with the birth of Jesus. The tradition of using birth bricks is attested in Pharaonic Egypt in 2 different contexts: in the funerary domain and in the domain of childbirth. In 2001, the American Egyptologist Joseph Wegner discovered the brick that I was talking about before in Abydos. The brick discovered by Wegner is made of unbaked clay, decorated with several images. On the bottom of the brick, a seated woman, perhaps Hathor, nursing a child, possibly Horus, is depicted with one woman behind and one in front, perhaps Isis. The scene is flanked by Hathor-headed emblem on tree trunks. The images of the 4 other side of the bricks show apotropic figures of the same kind of these depicted on magical wands, also using childbirth. So you can see the birthing brick. This discovery was unique. Some researchers had previously assumed the birth bricks during delivery even before this discovery, but only based on sources implying their use. Birth bricks are mentioned in the tomb chapel at Wakatathor in Saqqara, in a scene of singing female dancers. As Roth and Rohrig have pointed out, there there is found the phrase JJ, oh my god, not Janis, Janos or something else, FD04, which he did originally have 4 heads, but we'll not mention that, which is determined by the 4 rectangles, which serve as signs telling us that what the word refers to. They suggest that the birth bricks might have been personified in the context. Birth bricks were also mentioned in medical texts. In text F, the Papyrus Berlin, known as the Book for the Mother and Child, where an incantation involves the goddess Meskenet, is supposed to be recited over 2 bricks on which a woman gives birth. We're talking about spells now. And obviously we're giving birth on the bricks, so the energy from the birth is going into the bricks. I wonder what they actually did with the bricks afterwards, or did they just keep on using them? Giving birth in a squatting position was common for women in ancient Egypt, with the women resting her feet on one or several bricks, and the baby then falling into the space in between, presumably on top of a pillow or something of a soft surface. This way of giving birth was attested at the beginning of the 20th century by Blackman in the book The Phelim of Upper Egypt. So you can see you've already seen it so far. Birth bricks are also appeared in funerary domain. They looked different and came in sets of 4, but bore the same name, Meshkenet. Several bricks have been discovered in the New Kingdom in royal burials and burials of high officials. The ideal appearance of the birth bricks found in tombs is described in the spell 151 and 137 of the Book of the Dead. They are supposed to be made of unbaked clay on which a formula should be engraved, and a hole made for it in the wall of the burial chamber. Birth bricks found in tombs and had a protective function, connect with 4 cardinal directions, which is Janos and Cardia. The ones that are attested are simple clay bricks with statuettes of a reed, a mummiform figure, a jackal, and a diet pillar. A diet. Magical bricks were also used to protect a temple in construction and were connected to the protection from 4 cardinal directions. However, as has been shown by Isabella Reagan, the directions in which the bricks were deposited did not match the ideal. The goddess Meshkenet also played a role in the weighing of the heart tradition and was supposed to accompany the deceased to its rebirth in the netherworld, just as they accompanied him in the original birth. It has also been suggested that the birth brick or stools are also referenced in Exodus, which I've read out, and I'll just skip that bit because I've obviously read it. What can I read up to? Yeah, so that's it. So basically, it's just so interesting. It's so far that they're talking of birthing bricks and clay and mud. What have we got going on today? Mud floored and different things like that, Tartaria. And we're talking about how bones and blood is being used to make brick. It's just so interesting. Now we have the actual energy from the giving birth on bricks. So guys, I don't have the ability to show you the full book, just little snippets. And this is talking about how Magical Bricks and the Bricks of Birth by Anne Macy Roth and Catherine Rogrig. And this was talking about 4 mud bricks inscribed with the spells from chapter 151 of the Book of the Dead are often found in burial chambers of the royal and elite. I've just been talking about that. Dating from the New Kingdom, these bricks can be shown to represent the 4 bricks that supported women during childbirth. The use of bricks in a mortuary context is thus metaphorical, replicating the equipment of an earthly birth in order to ensure the deceased rebirth into the other world. Such bricks may also have been used in the opening of the mouth ritual. Tell me who can fit a brick in the mouth, it don't have to be a giant. Both funerally and in attempting, and the opening of the mouth ritual is Pater, which is Peter, Peter, and Father, and Janus, Ionis Pater. Both the funeral and temple foundation ceremonies in connection with the role of birth. Bricks also appear at the judgment a person face after death. This is getting deeper as we go on. Like other artifacts surrounding the birth in Egypt, bricks of birth had parallels in ancient Mesopotamia. Magical bricks, their archaeological evidence. During the New Kingdom, The 4 magical bricks were often placed in niches in the burial chambers of royal tombs and in some private tombs and burials of the Apis bull as well. The bricks and their associated figures were preserved in the tomb of Tutankhamun. 2 bricks were found in the tomb of Horeb, and surprisingly, bricks inscribed for Amenhotep and Akhenaten were found in KV 55. Other inscribed bricks bear the names of Amenhotep II, Tutmosis IV, and 2 Apis bulls buried in the reigns of Amenhotep III and Ramesses II, as well as various queens and private individuals. Each of these 4 bricks were associated with one of the 4 amuletic figures: a recumbent jackal on the shrine, a mummiform image, and a reed that represented a flame, and a jed pillar. Usually the bricks bore the text of a spell from chapter 151 of the Book of the Dead. And these are just little things at the bottom that is just nothing to do. Well, it is something to do, but it's not actually telling you anything. Right, guys? So this is just getting more and more interesting when we're talking about even in the opening mouth ritual and giving birth. And it's talking about metaphorically. It's just getting so deep. And even crossing over to the dead. They're talking and bringing these bricks. And bricks to the birth had parallels. So I'm just blown away, guys. I'm actually lost for words. I can't. My head is 3 minutes ahead of what I'm actually thinking. And as I'm filming this is the reaction I'm getting. I just don't know what to think or say. It's no change there then, is there? Guys, I've found this. It's on historyembalm.org, Curse of King Tut, 4 magic bricks. It's easily found if you type in 4 magic bricks Egypt. It'll come up, and it's basically talking about how the curse, if you believe in the curse of King Tut. But the reason I'm reading it out is because obviously it talks about magic bricks, and that's the reason. So if we go quiet for a little minute, it just means I'm trying to pick out the stuff that I need to read out. I'll try and edit out what I can so there's no big gaps of me being quiet, but sometimes you guys might think that's a blessing. So that's just what the top's talking about the curse. And then it talks about 4 magic bricks, contents of the tomb and the curse of King Tut. A gold and black Anubis shrine depicting a jackal on a pedestal was found in the tomb of Tutankhamun. Anubis was the ancient Egyptian god of the dead. There was also an inscription on the Anubis shrine that stated, "It is I who hinder the sand from choking the secret chamber. I am the protection of the deceased." And then this is talking about Lord Carnarvon, how problems with the press occurred when Lord Carnarvon signed an exclusive contract with the Times. So these things I'm not going to read out because my voice will only hold so long. It's weird that when you're reading. The 4 magic bricks in the royal tombs. So magic spells adorned the walls of many ancient Egyptian tombs, and inscriptions of spells were placed on various ritualistic objects placed in many royal tombs. These objects included amulets, statues and magic bricks. But what exactly were these magic bricks that referred to magic spells? They were a set of 4 mud bricks made of mud, and if you remember, we supposedly came from the earth and mud and all that. I'll try and include that in this after this as well, just a little recap, which contained or were summoned by divine images or symbols of various gods. The magic bricks often rested in niches along the walls or burial chambers. Statues rested on the magic bricks, which served as a hiding place for amulets or religious texts, which were often in form of spells taken from the chapter 151 of the Book of the Dead. The Shapti, the Jed pillar, torch and jackal, the magic bricks contained or supported potent and highly protective symbols reflecting magical elements contained in embalming chambers. The magic bricks were symbolic and also believed by some to represent the 4 bricks that supported the women during childbirth, symbolising the rebirth of the dead person in the afterlife. The protective objects associated with the 4 magic bricks were a Shapti figure. A Shapti figure provided a workforce for the use in the afterlife. A torch, a jackal and a jed pillar was a vertical object that were at least 4 crossbars, sometimes portrayed with the human arms and holding the royal regalia or regalia. I'll put a picture up there now so you can actually see. I had another one, but it's really not clear for some reason. It just won't, unpixelate. The position of the 4 magic bricks and the protective gods. The magic bricks were carefully positioned at the 4 cardinal compass points of the tomb: north, south, east and west. Each of these cardinal points, which we know cardinal is Cardia, which is a threshold god, who is the other half of Janos, was associated with one of the 4 sons of Horus. Horus was the son of Isis and Osiris, and a god of the sky and the sun. The 4 sons of Horus, who were deemed to be protectors of the dead pharaoh, their names were Emesete, Hape, Duamutef and Quebefisinouf. I'll not keep reading them out because I struggle with English. And they were also depicted on the canopic jars, which was stored the large human organs called the viscera, the liver, lungs, stomach and intestines, which were extracted during the process of mummification. Each of the 4 sons was associated with one of the cardinal points on the compass and were in turn protected by other powerful female gods. So we had Hapi, who was associated with the north and was depicted as a baboon, and he was under the protection of Nephises. Imiseti was associated with the south and depicted as a man-head god, and was also protection of Isis. Juamaftef was associated with the east and is depicted as a jackal and protection of Neith, which would have been, sounds like north, doesn't it, even though he's associated with the east. And Quebecinouf was associated with the west and depicted with the hawk and under the protection of Serket. And obviously you've seen the picture, I'll put it up just again, give you a little refresher. And basically the meaning of these 4 bricks in the tomb of King Tut: 4 magic bricks were found in the King Tut. Each of the 4 magic bricks would have been ascribed by the ancient Egyptians with the protective spells contained in that chapter 151, the Book of the Dead. There were also actual excerpts from spells taken from the chapter of the Book of the Dead found inside the mask of Tutankhamun. The 4 sons of Horus offered protection to the pharaoh according to the ascribed spells, symbolised by each of the 4 magic bricks. And this basically talks about how north god Hapi, sounds like Havi, doesn't it, which is another name for the All Father. One eye. Oh god, it's gone out of my head. Isn't it funny? Things just go completely out of your Odin. There we go. I have come to be your protection. I have bound your head and your limbs for you. I have smitten you enemies beneath you for you, and given you your head eternally. Another one from Messay said, I am your son, Osiris. I have come to your protection and have strengthened your house enduringly as Peter, and Peter is father. Janus' other name is Ionos Peter, or Peter. So it's just funny how the Peter, the god of the voice, resembles that. Decreed in accordance with Ra himself. Next one is the Book of the Dead for the East. Duamatef. I am your son Osiris. I am your son Horus, your beloved. I have come to rescue my father Osiris from his assailant. I place him under your legs eternally. And the last one was from Quinesef. I am your son Osiris. I have come to you for your protection. I have united your bones for you. I have assembled your limbs for you. I have brought you your heart and placed it for you at its place in the body. I have strengthened your house after you, and you live eternally. So just interesting. And again, this is just going over what we're talking about already. These 4 magic bricks, and they had them in the when you died in funerary beliefs too, as they believe you wanted, as this says, give you good sight in the afterlife. So it's just intriguing to me that a video talking about bricks and walls, and then we start getting really deep, and it goes back to supposedly of Jesus and the Egyptians having spells on the bricks that you give birth to. So I don't know where this will go from here, but as you can see, this just mainly talks about the curse. You know what I mean? So if you actually want to look at its history, Embalmed, Curse of the King Tut. Right guys, hopefully you're enjoying it so far. We are just bricks in the wall, and that most of the creation stories talk how we were created from mud or clay or dust from the ground. And here's just a selection. We have the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living being. We have the Sumerian here, we have the Prometheus, and we have the Egyptian, all creating man from clay on a type of potter's wheel. So that ties straight into a lot of what people say about God being the master potter of the physical body, without obviously the soul. Then we have the Quran talking about how dust is the first stage of creation. Scientists confirm that our bodies contain the same elements as existed in dust, exactly as the Quran told us. Among his signs in this, that he created you Adam from dust, and then behold you are human beings scattered. Then we have tales and myth lore about the golem or the golem. This is from X-Files, just an example. They've appeared in many programs. But what's interesting, and there is a famous story about the Golem of Prague, where the rabbi created a golem to protect them, but eventually had to, because of his appetite, the golem for violence, had to hide, took away obviously the word that created him, and then stored him away in the attic. But what he did was he took away the stairs and boarded up. Years later, they went into the attic, couldn't find nothing. And in Prague today, they even have a golem VR where you can actually go in and see what it's like. So the golem in the Bible, the word golem is said to appear once in the Bible, Psalm 139:16. I don't think it is, but this is what they say, and means shapeless mass or unfinished substance in Hebrew. According to a Talmudic legend, Adam was a golem for the first 12 hours of existence, indicating that his body was without a soul. That just reminds me a little bit of NPCs, soulless people, doesn't it? In another legend, the prophet Jeremiah is said to have made a golem. Some believe these legends regarding the creation of golems are merely symbolic in nature and may refer to a person's spiritual awakening. Here's the verse I was on about. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written. The days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. And obviously it goes through some bits of translation, it could be something else. We know what some of these verses are like. Now we're talking about golem and golems, or whatever you want to pronounce. Terracotta warriors made from clay, representing the soldiers' actual faces. I believe each one is an individual. Do they not remind you of the golems? Soulless NPCs ready to come to spring into life. That's just always what I got when I looked at them. It's like they were ready to be created. Who knows what spells or magic they were actually there waiting to happen. It just makes you think, doesn't it? Especially of the film The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which, as you can see from these images, the terracotta warriors and the emperor come to life. So it just gets you thinking, like I say. And is there any harm in thinking these days? I think they'll try and make that illegal. The Colma Highway, known as the Road of Bones. The road is treated as a memorial, as the bones of estimated 250,000 to 1 million people who died while constructing it were laid beneath or around the road. As the road is built on permafrost, interment into the fabric of the road was deemed more practical than digging new holes to bury the bodies of the dead, because they're basically slaves. Or was it? Here is some bodies just been found in the road itself, and this is a memorial to it. It's called the Mask of Sorrow, and it's a bit creepy, but this is what they deemed to show respect to the people who lost their lives building the permafrost road. So this just got me thinking, because we have the story about bones, walls, and what I'm talking about in this video. And you also have the Great Wall of China, which is, as we all know, people supposedly were buried there too. As I've just said, like the Road of the Bones, the wall is supposedly contain human remains. And so obviously this got me thinking. Hopefully it's a good thing. Don't let me know in the comments. So I've covered the bones in various videos, but now I want to answer the question, why are all the bones so clean? And what happened to the blood? what if the blood was used to make bricks? It's not as outlandish as you think. Nowadays they're trying to bring back the use of animal blood to make mud blood bricks, especially in the African deserts. They say there's a waste of blood, so why not use it to make bricks? And here we have a pattern from 1980 in regard to use of blood in the cement, mortar and concrete industry for obtaining a lightened material, and it was by Charles Laman from France. And as you can see, the US patent documents, there's been documents from 1912, 1935 and so on. And this is basically, if you look at the abstract, he wants to use and create a lighter concrete or brick using blood as the main ingredient. He also talks about how he acknowledges that the idea of using blood to make concrete wasn't in any way new. He cited a variety of earlier patents, such as the one I included before from 1912, which described mixing blood into concrete. And in fact, the technique of using blood to make concrete was even practiced by the ancient Romans. So this gets you thinking now, doesn't it, about all this red brick and different things. Is human blood used in the building of all these buildings that we all call Tartarian type today? It's quickly out, guys, because it goes with what I'm suggesting, that in ancient times they used blood. The Romans did. Now what if all these, what we call Tartarian buildings, all the different architecture, used the blood from humans in it because of the energy and how light and stronger they are? Now this is a project by revered.architecture.com. It's on their website. I think they've won a President Medal. And this is from the art from Jack Monroe. You saw it briefly in a few pictures. It's called Sanguis et Pulvis, which means blood and dust. And basically what they're trying to do this is actually, so what, I'll read it quickly out. Sanguis et Pulvis seeks to re-establish the dissipating autonomy of the Siwa oasis in Egypt's western desert. Throughout its history, the Berber settlement has remained isolated and self-sufficient in traditional economy based on agriculture. It's vernacular based on mud brick construction. However, two environmental phenomena has jeopardized the ancient way of life. Firstly, the encroaching sands of the Sahara has significantly reduced the farmable land surrounding Siwa. And if any of you guys listening are into Assassin's Creed, you'll know Assassin's Creed Origins, and Bayek is from Siwa, and you actually go through Siwa in the game. It's where you really start off, isn't it? Anyway, forced its economy to focus increasingly on the unreliable and highly seasonal tourism trade, and this has greatly eroded the town's economic and agricultural self-sufficiency. Secondly, a series of rare rainstorms in the 1920s caused catastrophic damage to the town's historic centre, dissolving the salt-rich mud bricks. This destroyed faith in the material on which the town's vernacular was based, despite thousands of years of reliance upon it. So basically, they're talking about how the Sanguis El Pulvis addresses three of these issues in three ways. Creating a new local construction material based on slaughtered animal blood. Animal blood is an abundant waste product in North Africa, in which each halal slaughtered cow produces 40 litres of blood, often incarcerated as waste. The material can act as a powerful binding agent for use in construction. This project develops the material as both a method of solidifying sand dunes as well, and as bricks to re-establish sustainable local vernacular, creating a new economic base through the low tech generation of electric power as well. So basically, I'll show you a few images that they have on it. There's no point reading it out because it's really, really fine print, and I can't zoom in on these slides. But as you can actually see, you actually want to pour blood, animal blood, into the dunes to solidify, creating these canopies too. A little bit I can read. It says, over a period of years, the sand dunes of the Great Sand Sea are stabilised by the crest pouring of blood-based binders. The binder pours down the faces of the dunes, creating a structural network which solidifies in the desert heat. So that's what they plan on doing. So I'm just showing you, if they're trying to do this like for a projects, could they have actually used blood? And I might see if I can talk about it a little bit more in this video, but it just gets me, if they can do it with animal blood, and we know what they like to do, a ritual based, can you imagine like the disappearance of all these bodies, for instance these ghost towns? Was they actually built using the blood of the people? Because we have the skulls and the femurs are in ossuaries or underneath the ground, and I've talked about how they're connected to the cities above in creating energy, like a piezoelectric type of energy from the bones. So could they be using the blood too to actually make the bricks? It's just intriguing. So that's underneath, and they want to create free energy from the heat and the fluid from these going into these canopies. Diverting components with the shape the dune structure creates voids in which Fresnel lenses are mounted. So lenses are obviously talking about these, the heat, and then the liquid comes down in here to create some form of free power. So it's, as you can see, it is like a sci-fi thing. It even reminds me of Stargate when there's gold and there's the other people who cooperate. I've talked about them before. The Tok'ra, they have a device for like tunneling, and it actually makes similar shapes to these. So this is all made out of animal blood, they say, and they want it connecting to the grid to create free energy. And there's animals getting slaughtered and making the bricks that I was talking about. And this is like a physical modelling of blood dune structures. So actually talking blood dunes and blood bricks being made and blood tunnels. So it's crazy when you think about it. Could humans or even fallen angels blood being used, especially in churches and cathedrals? That's a thought. And then you go, that's the process that you saw the picture before, the blood bricks getting made. I just thought, you know what, I'll actually show you a little bit of being made, traditional bricks, maybe with the blood bricks, and obviously the new in the sand dunes, creating this weird sci-fi mix with old and new. Just thought I would include it because it's just intriguing me. You just have to think in a lady in childbirth, and here's a picture. Oh wait, sorry, wrong picture. So here we go. So a lady giving birth, and they're on birthing bricks. And can you imagine the energy, not just physical but spiritual, of the energy, but all being transferred into those bricks? Now you can see why the Egyptians call them magic bricks, because they are magical, not only in life but in death. And it's just so intriguing with this, and this is why I'm just trying to angle it now to fit into Tartarian buildings and different things. And I'll show you just this, why I think that now. Well, I've just been talking about giving birth and that energy. And a lot of you would have seen this, but some of you won't. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to read it out. And this is from a civil engineer website talking about how bricks turned into energy storing devices. And they're actually talking about red bricks in particular. And it says red bricks are one of the strongest building materials that have been widely used in construction for more than 6,000 years. The term brick initially referred to the block that consisted of dry clay, and that's why I've put in just a little bit about how humans were supposedly made from clay, just to tie it in nicely. Currently, bricks are mainly utilised in walls and are usually joined together using mortar. Add that to blood in the mortar, and then you get a lot, don't you? And then even blood in the bricks. So that's intriguing me about the red bricks. Could it, in fact, in olden buildings that we class as Tartarian, like cathedrals, churches, the buildings are still there today that they don't know how to build, could they have been used with human or the fallen bloodline? Because we seem to be looking for them, the giants. And could they actually have been in the buildings themselves? So highly resistant to weather. So fire bricks are highly resistant to weather conditions. Moreover, they tend to absorb heat transferred during the day and release it during the night, a fact that is beneficial for preserving temperature conditions in buildings. Nevertheless, according to a new study published in Nature Communications, red bricks can also be used to store energy and act like batteries. In particular, chemist researchers from Washington University have created a technique that makes bricks capable of storing power and using it to power devices. The bricks can be connected to solar panels and store renewable energy. Bricks have a porous structure that enables the storing process. Those pores are filled with an acid vapour which acts as a dissolve for the iron oxide or rust from which bricks are composed. A gas is transferred through the cavities of the brick, which are filled with a sulphur-based material that reacts with iron. As a result, a conductive plastic polymer pedote surrounds the bricks porous in this work. We have developed a coating of the conducting polymer, which is comprised of nanofibers that penetrate the inner porous network of a brick. A polymer coating remains trapped in a brick and serves as an ion sponge that stores and conducts electricity. Julio M. Darcy, co-authored the study, an assistant professor of chemistry, stated, according to the scientific team, the proposed method could generate substantial amounts of renewable energy. Researchers estimate that 50 capacitor bricks would take 13 minutes to charge and could provide enough energy to power the emerging lighting of a bulb for at least 50 minutes. Among other advantages, Darcy mentioned that the brick capacitors can be recharged multiple times with short time periods without any deficiencies. Researchers emphasise the fact that iron oxide, a waste material that has been turned into a useful product that can be utilised in the process of generating renewable energy. Insert materials hold the potential to be transformative in a chemical manufacturing, the team suggests. And it just basically says at the end, the team's future goals are to increase the capacity of energy storing by at least 10 times and decrease the cost and time of producing the polymer coated bricks. So as you can see, we're talking about bricks turned into energy storing device. And we have us made from clay. We have the ancients giving birth on bricks, on stones, on blocks, transferring that energy to. So it's like, you can just imagine what the picture I'm trying to paint here of these buildings. I mean, I'm not saying that all these bricks then went into the buildings from giving birth, but it's just painting the picture. It could be, you know what I mean? I'd just love to give you guys options of theories, or even me asking questions, and you guys at home will probably have answers already. I just found it fascinating that I'm somehow tying giving birth on bricks to other red brick buildings and just in general. So I'm just finding it fascinating. Hopefully you guys are too. We've all been brought up on stories of giants, especially the Fee Fo Fi Fum or Fee Fi Fo Fum. This is just a different one that I found. It says, Fee Fo Fum, I smell the blood of an earthly man. Let him be alive or dead. Off goes his head. And this is just one of the oldest ones I found. There's different versions of it. It talks about grinding bones and all that. But in regard to giants, we've seen a lot of people thinking now, yep, they helped to build the walls. And we see a lot of it in TV. Giant references, giant being the villains, cartoons, animations. We've seen it. Are they pushing an agenda about giants? Who knows? But we're seeing more and more giants around, and we can all acknowledge that, especially when we see the hieroglyphs. But what I'm talking about this is because there is a form of architecture called Cyclopean masonry, and that's when they put all the big boulders that humans supposedly can't carry, and they named it because they believed the Cyclops built them. Now this is in Mycenae, but I'm showing examples of others all around the world of the similar type of masonry where big boulders are put together with hardly any gap. Sometimes filled with mortar, sometimes not. So as you can see, this is just a section where we're labelling it Cyclopean masonry after the Cyclops, which is obvious is a giant. So it's just interesting how these types of walls all get banded and shown around the different social medias, and it's named after a giant, a Cyclops from the Greek area Mycenae. I wanted to get into a video for a long time. Is this what you're actually seeing here? This is basically, it's a chamber in a house. It's the ceiling of the room of the giants in the Palazzo del Teo, and it's in Mantua, Italy. Now this frescoes was done by a student of Raphael. Now, by Giuliano Romano. And what's interesting, it tells you about the fall of the giants, hence why I wanted to put it in regard to this, what we're talking about, giants and where did they go. I've always talked about how they could have traversed outwards, you know what I mean, back towards where the so-called wall is that surrounds us. And we're seeing bones and bodies of giants being dug up all the time, and it's just starting to get into the so-called normal media. Well, this obviously tells the story of the fall of the giants, and it's by the Latin poet Ovid. And what we can see is Jupiter surrounded by the other gods, and he's getting ready to basically destroy the giants. So yeah, this is so intriguing, and the really beautiful paintings. So please just type in the Chamber of the Gods or the ceiling of the room of the giants, and you can actually give a more in detail, because obviously you can only see so much on your screen. But it's really beautiful. So I'll just go through some of the slides in it. And as you can see, the giants getting destroyed and covered in the walls, in the buildings. And this is actually in the room. So you can see how beautiful it is that in a room, all the walls are painted. I'm talking about this tale done from Ovid. I think it was Metamorphosis. It's just beautiful, isn't it? I just love and intrigued by all these types of frescoes, because you can see so much symbolism in them. So if you go quiet, it's just because I'm looking as well. I just love looking at her. So you can just see the amount of giants that are getting destroyed and died. And I've been talking in this video, if you think about it, if you can get 40 litres of blood from an animal, what could you get from a giant depending on its size? Where did the bones got buried? Obviously, did they use the blood for ritual purposes, or did they start to use it to build with? It's just something intriguing. That's why I'm asking it quite a lot in this video. Just want to hear what your guys' opinion is on that. So this is a view of the Sala di Giganto, the west wall. And this is the south wall. So you can see the destruction of the giants. And some of them do look like Cyclops. It's crazy, isn't it, when you look at these paintings and say, is it just the artistic impression, or are they painting what they've been told? This one is of the north wall. And you can see ancient architecture, the pillars representing the 11. And the gods with the wind and different types of wind attacking the giants. And they're looking on, begging for mercy. As you can see, they're praying at the back. So it's really intriguing. So yeah, I highly recommend people have a take a look at this. And maybe some of you good people have actually been and had a look at this room. If you are, you've been very lucky. So just, you know what I mean? It's, if you think about it, especially in this image, don't they remind you of what we see today? And we talk about titans and how they got not mummified but petrified into stone. And it's like these images, this is talking about the destruction of the giants. I'm just going quiet because I'm just, watching it as you are. I've had a quick look at it before, but you always see something new, when you go in. No, not very lucky, happy looking giants, sir, as they're at war and getting destroyed, they're getting killed. You can see them all being like morphed or hidden by the rubble. go. So that's obviously the Palazzo di Te in Mantua, Italy. So if you want to have a look, please just have a gander. You can see it on YouTube. There's a really good video on YouTube, and it does that. It's actually, well, you know, one of them 360 immerse videos where you can just like move your camera around and you can actually see it. So if I can find that again, I'll put it in the link in the description. If not, it's easily found. So there you go, guys. This is just the tale, the story by Ovid of the fall of the giants. So that's been done in a fresco. And is this the moment in reality when all the giants got destroyed? What did they do with the blood? Did the blood seep away? Who knows? These are just the questions I love asking and seeing what you good guys at home think about that. Right, guys, here's some more famous stones. Most of them you will hear of. And I'll start with obviously one of the most famous, the Scone Stone, or the Stone of Destiny. The Stone of Scone is arguably the greatest symbol and touchstone of Scottish nationhood, and as such has been a very potent icon for more than 1,000 years. It was the seat on which generations of kings of Scotland and kings of Dalriada before them were crowned. And obviously it is supposedly been missing. Supposedly the Queen still got it. It's underneath her throne in Westminster. So there's so much folklore. Supposedly it got restolen by 4 Scottish students. So there's loads of folklore, myth lore behind it. But it's still in essence one of the most famous stones. Is it a part of a wall? Who knows what it was. And the stone that was sent to England weighed £336, and the one that came back was 458. So there's a lot of people think it's not actually the same stone. So that's just an intriguing, and that's just a famous stone. Another famous stone, the London Stone. The remaining part of the London Stone, which once stood in the middle of Cannon Street, slightly west of its present location. Its original purpose is unknown, although it may be Roman and related to the Roman building that lay to the south. It was already called the London Stone in the 12th century and became an important city landmark. In 1450, Jack Cade, leader of the rebellion against the corrupt government of Henry VI, stuck it with his sword and claimed to be Lord of London. In 1742, London Stone was moved to the north side of the street and eventually set in the above wall at St Swithin's Church on the site. The church was bombed in the Second World War, and the London Stone was incorporated into the new office building on the site. Following development, it was placed in the present location in 2018 after getting some restoration. So as you can see, here's some pictures of London Stone over, throughout the eons. And it's intriguing about this. What is it? And as this plaque states, which most have just read out underneath it, also says its origin and purpose are unknown, but in 1188 there was a reference to Henry, son of Elwyn de Londonstane, subsequently Lord Mayor of London. So could Londonstane be actually London Stone? Who knows? I mean, it's been talked that this was here before London was even built, and it's part of the old ancient England. Who knows? But people walk past it every day and do not notice what it is. And as you can see, it's sandstone. So, wonder what it is. What was it part of? Who will we ever know? But it's intriguing me, and this is why I've made this video, just to include things like this. What was the purpose of this London Stone? What wall was it a part of? Because as you can see, what you can see now is just a little piece that's left, but it would have been a huge brick. And they do say London was built by giants of the city of London. So you can see the red dots there, and I'll zoom in a sec. But what I'm going to put you on the screen now is obviously off the $1 bill. It's the pyramid and the all-seeing eye, the Eye of Providence. Now you might be thinking, why is he showing us this? We're talking about walls and bricks. Well, obvious reasons. A pyramid is using bricks, blocks, but not just that. It's the shape. So you have the pyramid, and then you have the all-seeing eye at the top. Now, there you go. You just saw the picture. Let me just show you where this temple. I'm going ahead of myself here. There is a temple at the side also, but let me show you where the stone is located. So they've put it here for a reason. So you can quite easily see. I'm zooming in. And what do we have here? Let's just get in a bit more so you can see. There you go. So it's roughly about here. When you zoom out, you can see the red marks where the stone was. So roughly about here. There's your pyramid. Like the note. The stone is at the base of the pyramid. And within this pyramid, you have the residence of the Lord Mayor of London. And you also have the London Mithraeum, which is a Roman temple to Mithras. And all the things that they have found. And you can just look at the shape. Well, what's interesting is obviously the pyramid. And also if you look at that from a distance, that does look like a serpent with the eye. A bit like the dendra that I've just done. And at the top of this pyramid, lo and behold, is something called the Bank of England. So to me, this cannot be a coincidence that the London Stone, whether it's a part of, could it be a part of the Mithras temple? Could it be a part of the Wailing Wall? Could it be a part of the Temple of Solomon? Is it a part of Old England that the giants built? Who knows? There's so many theories on what it is and the other stones that I've mentioned. But to me, this is just a wow that it is at the base of a pyramid. And the top of the pyramid with the all-seeing eyes on the note, you have the Bank of England. Surely that is not a coincidence. And to finish off on this, famous stones, because I could keep here all day because there's so many. But it got me thinking about the Capitol cornerstone and how, well, look at it. It looks like sandstone. It looks like the sand. It looks like the stone of Scone and the London stone. They all are very, very similar. And it could be a coincidence. A popular material to build in them days. But what if? You just never know. And this is zoomed in and you can see the stone, the cornerstone going in and all the Masonic ties. Well, I've looked at London, I've looked at Washington quick with a stone. Let's look at the Vatican. Have you got anything that's famous there for being a stone or a brick? If they had a holy door that, when it's not in use, they would brick up. That would be rather unusual. I'm talking about famous bricks. The Pope, whoever he deemed to be worthy, get one of the holy bricks. Yeah, you got it. So not only do the Egyptians have magic bricks, Rome has holy bricks. And he gives them to people who he deems worthy of a brick. Now that got me thinking, supposedly this is the first tomb of St. Peter, Pater, Father. Just look at the type of stone that you can see in there. Very, very similar, isn't it? To all the stones that I've shown so far. What if it's just a piece of that? Who knows? And while I'm making this, I'm thinking out loud, what if these stones were birthing stones to a famous giant of some sort that connects London, the Vatican and Washington DC? Is there anyone we know? I dread to say it, guys. Okay, so we'll say it. So Genoa, obviously, the city's current name derives from the Latin word meaning knee, Genua, plural Genua, but according to other theories, that could derive from Janus, because Genoa, like the god, has two faces. And that just got me thinking, knee, kneeling, Genoa, the bricks, you kneel. People are taking the knee and the two-face wearing the face mask. Where we've seen this connection. So could it in fact be Janus is birthing bricks? I don't know. I'm just running theories as I'm doing the video. Because as you can see, world leaders take the knee, wear face masks. Oh, they're doing the Genoa. They're doing the kneeling. That is just my little theory that I've had for a while. And people on social media will know, obviously. But anyway, get to the cathedral in Genoa, and that's the picture here. They have an inscription inside the cathedral. I'm not going to read that out, I'm just going to read you the juicy bits. And it says, in the cathedral there is an inscription that says Janus Primus Rex Italiae di Progeny Gigantum Cui Fundavit Genurum Tempore Ebrae. And basically that means the following. Janus, the first king of Italy, the progeny of the giants who founded Genoa in the days of Abraham. So that is an inscription from Roman days in the cathedral that was found. Take it of what you will, but as I'm talking about kneeling, birthing bricks, there must be some significance in these blocks that the few that I've talked about. Not only is the fact that it's in those three states of their own, the Vatican, City of London and Washington DC, could they in fact be linked to Genoa, which is the capital of capitalism. That is where it was invented, and the first bank, the Bank of St. George. So just a little bit of tidbit that you can take away or ignore. And in this video we're talking about walls, are we not, and bricks. And if you remember me, star thought, as above so below, you will remember this bit, and I'll just read out when I can find it. He also instructed them how to build temples and to honour the gods with sacrificial worship, and to surround the cities with walls. So he taught people the rules of justice, as you can see, and he taught people how to build walls. None other than Janus. So that nice ties in with what I've just been saying and what I'm talking about walls and bricks in this video, birthing bricks and walls. Ties in Janus again. So he taught us the law and how to build walls. Talking of justice, the law acts like a wall. It surrounds us. It restricts us. The law is the wall. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. Psalms 119. So we're talking about, well, when we're sitting on a wall, what can we see? We can see a lot more. That is why they stop us. That's why we're always looking up at the wall, which is the law. Is that why, all in all, you are just another brick in the wall? Remember, the law is the wall. And the Bible verse, open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. So you're looking out of us, our eyes. We're the bricks in the wall, and what do we use to see? Our eyes. We use our eyes to see, and we are the wall, we are the brick, and the law is the wall, as you've just seen them few quotes. How do we see? Well, the retina contains millions of light-sensitive cells, rods and cones, and other nerve cells that receive and organise visual information. Your retina then sends this information to your brain through your optic nerve, enabling you to see. Right, guys, so that is just basically about the retina. This is the Latin converter, and you will not believe, you will know if you saw my old videos, but I'm redoing it again for this video. So let me put retina in. Right, and it just says retina, but you know I like to split things down, how we actually say things like retina. So let me split it in half, and you get in English retina, retina. Let's carry it forward. Retina then means in English of inner. Let's forward it again. So this is from retina, of inner in English, to Latin ex succere sui. Right, I think it's going to be next on the line. Remember what we're talking about, the wall and law, and what we use our eyes to see, those wondrous things from that Bible verse. The law. When I originally found this, I was just literally blown away. So as you can see from what I've showed you, from splitting up retina, which we actually use to see, and it puts all that information together, means the law. Tell me you ain't blown away like I was with that. It's a game changer for me personally. It's just wow, it gives the hairs on my end. I even still get it today from seeing that. You just forget. So the wall and the law is us. because we see wondrous things out of our eyes. Well, hopefully we try to. Right, guys? And like this good picture shows, so our eyes are the law, and we use them to judge. Like the saying goes, don't judge the book by its cover. I found that so fitting considering what we're talking about today. So, I can't talk about bricks and walls without referring to what went through my head when I originally talked about the Egyptian birthing bricks, and it was a Pink Floyd song, obviously Another Brick in the Wall. And here's some of the lyrics. I'm not going to go through them all, not the fact that I can't sing, but obviously it's just a few lines out of it, and maybe in the future we could do something about looking deep into the lyrics. But as we know, because words are spells, and obviously this is where it starts talking about all in all it was just a brick in the wall, and all in all it was all just bricks in the wall. So everything was bricks in the wall. And now that I'm talking about how the law is the bricks, and we see out of our eyes, which refer to the law and the wall, and how wondrous things the Creator creates. Are they changing the light? Because obviously we need light to see, and if you change the way the light comes into us, you can hide so many things and change this realm. So obviously they talk about the famous bit is when the children, we don't need no education, we don't need no thought control, no dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave those kids alone. So is it referring to teachers in general, or is it talking to the wider picture, the people behind the indoctrination? Which I do believe it is that. And we're the children of the Creator. And then it talks about all in all, it's just another brick in the wall. All in all, you are just another brick in the wall. And when we sit together, when we don't break the chain, you can have disagreements, don't have to get on with everyone. Remember, if we are all bricks, and together we can build the biggest wall and hold evil back as such, they've found a way to break and put holes in the wall, maybe doors, hence all the Janus interference. It's just a thought. And it talks about how we don't need no education, we don't need no thought control, because obviously they indoctrinate us from an early level. They are, what's that word now? Interfering and changing how we think, bringing in their spells, changing the law, changing the walls, changing the bricks in the wall, so if they can control this wall, obviously a lot of things can happen. I just found it so fascinating when you just read some of them lyrics. And you know, when we talk about how we are just bricks in the wall, and when we get to a moment in life, we always say, oh God, we're up against the wall, we've hit the wall, in a sense of we can't do it anymore. So it's just amazing when we talk about things, and we get brought up with Humpty Dumpty sat on a great wall. So all these things just bring it together for me, from when I was trying to make the video wondering how this would progress, to talking about magic bricks in Egypt, and so much more that obviously you've seen. It's just, I've really enjoyed making this, and hopefully guys you have enjoyed it too. So I'm going to finish with this before my thoughts. Remember, this is the visceras, the liver, the lungs in King Tut's chamber with the magic bricks. Just look at the layout on how they are. Well, if you had both crowns in Egypt, meaning lower and upper Egypt, you had the red and white crowns. Well, I thought, well, look at the bricks and how they're laid, and put red and white into that. What would it make? And this is what I got. Now, does that look familiar? Right, guys, I'll leave that with you. Now, my thoughts.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right, guys, first of all, if you've liked the video, because yep, it's been different, but I believe it's a really good video, just showing you the importance of bricks and walls. Like I said, I want to make things differently and not say, well, this wall, and bricks. And as you can see, it certainly is different. So for returning subscribers and friends, who I like to call them, or flockers, thank you for the support. And for anyone who's new, and there's been a lot over the last few days and weeks, thanks to Paul Cook. So please, thank you to him, and Audio Dactic, and Richie from 007, who I had a live with yesterday. So thank you to all them guys for helping out when I've restarted this channel. So I appreciate the support, guys, and it's humbling. Right, on with the video and my thoughts. I want to keep it quick, guys, because as you know, I've been on this video it feels like months, but I bet it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and it's the longest I've been on a video. But in fact, it's strange, because when I originally did the Dendera video, I had an idea about them bricks it stirred something in me. I want to look into them, and I started it. And do you know when you just like writer's block or something, you're like, is it going to be interesting enough for you guys to watch, talking about bricks and walls? I mean, I've done a video on walls that I need to redo again, but that's just basically looking at the walls in general, like the top 10. So how do you do this differently? And then I stumbled upon the Egyptian magic bricks, and obviously giving birth and the birthing bricks. So I thought, you know what, I want to go down that line, and I'm glad I did. Obviously, you can see what I put in it, where it talks about how Jesus was born on birthing bricks. Things that we're just not told, whether it's facts or true or lies, who knows? But it's information that I thought it goes together with the video, and I had to include it, and I'll show you guys what I find. And that's what you seem to like about my channel. I'll show you just what I find, and I don't say you have to believe this or that. So the idea of the birthing bricks gave me ideas, and you can see what I went from, because as you know, creation stories from all around this realm talk about how we're made from dust and clay, and in that era in antiquity, some of the bricks, or most of the bricks, were made from clay. So that got me thinking then to the Pink Floyd song, all in all, we're just another brick in the wall. So if we're part of this wall, then were human blood or bones used in the building of walls? And that's why you saw me just correlate with the Russian road, and obviously the building of the Great Wall of China, because evidence is shown, and that's why I included, that people are actually buried in it and around it on both sides, both the road and the wall. So that got me thinking. And people are talking about red bricks in the community, especially in Tartarian mud flood, about the energy and how it's able to be stored in that. Same with limestone, because obviously, you watch ghost hunting type of thing, is properties on limestone generally have more weird things happening because of the energy. So that got me thinking. I've done so many videos on the bones in Osiris and underneath star forts or star cities, whatever people want to call them, and we've always asked the question, yep, they're cleaned. Did they eat the flesh and consume the flesh, consume the blood, aka adrenochrome? Or did they actually have a multi-purpose of using the bone for the piezoelectric type of effect in the energy of the bones, and also spiritual and ritualistic? And did they then use the blood to make red brick and other types of bricks? So, and that's why I included the patterns, just to show you that officially, yeah, they found it to use human blood, animal bone. And obviously, was it a spell when they used human blood? So that just gets you thinking. And then obviously you're talking about the giant connection, because a lot of people believe giants made some of these big structures, and that's why I talked briefly about the Cyclopean wall, because in Greece area they thought the Cyclops built them because of the size. Well, as we know from research and films throughout the eons, generally when you do a job, if they don't want you to do another job, they generally kill you and dispose of you, basically tying up loose ends. Now, did they use the blood to build further walls. Who knows? It's just ideas that I wanted to run past you guys to see what you think, because obviously the energy stored in the blood. I mean, there's some talks about how Raphaim, Nephilim blood has some type of properties, talking about healing. And well, we look at the churches and the use of the music and the organs in these. Could it be a possibility that they use this to resonate with the sound from the music? Can you think about the energy property if they use some of these great builders, these giants in the buildings? That could answer where have they gone. Obviously not just disposing of the bones, but also the blood and all the organs. Why is it every time you do anything, you always seem to get some idiot who wants to rev his engine outside your house? So apologies for that. So that just got me thinking on that score. Like I said, I'm not saying it's fact or could it happen. It just intrigued me that we've always talked, and I've done videos, as I said, about where the bones and how they're polished and boiled they look, and they're all under star thoughts. And we talk about the fallen a lot. Have they decided to use the blood to build with, like that artist and them architects in Siwa, by using the blood to create blood tunnels and blood bricks and a different type of ecosystem, using the blood of thy enemies, as they say. So that just got me really thinking on that, together with obviously the Egyptian, the birthing bricks, and then they use them in the funerary part too, to cross over from this life to the next, and how that resembles the Genoese, the English flag, and so on. And that was very intriguing. So if you did like the video, just like I said, like, subscribe and share, comment in what you think, because I'm going to go in a minute, because not only have I been on this for so long, I'm just keen to jump on other topics, and I might even come back to this in the future when more and more ideas through you great guys, you know, mix in and create something that I get a spark off. But it is intriguing, isn't it, to think of bricks and walls, and are we a part of the wall that the creator made? Because obviously you have the building blocks of life being carbon, and they talk about how it's the building blocks of carbon, and then how that equates to 666, 6 neurons, 6 protons, etc., and how that made CC, which is obviously 3 3, and then you also had, if I remember, what have I forgot? Oh yes, about the mass adding up to 11 being the gateway. So you can see how, from looking at things, talking about building blocks of life, carbon and all that, to actually physically being a brick in the wall. And I enjoyed it when I made my circumpunct video, that the eyes, the retina, means the law. That quote that from the Bible verse where it says, "I look, mine eyes." See, they've got, the wondrous things with our mine eyes. Obviously, that's not word for word, but you know what I mean. I'm just trying to remember so much in my head, and I always love that verse, because we do see wondrous things, but we do see evil too. And if we're part of the wall, which is the law, and we always judge a book by its cover, we use our eyes, which is the law. So we are being the judge and the jury, and we've all done it. Even me, because obviously I'm not perfect, and throughout my life I've judged people by how they look, and I've been judged myself, because you do forget. But you know what I mean, it's okay to admit when you've done something wrong like that and own up to it. I've told people that, I've judged you wrongly. My apologies. There's no harm in being wrong and admit you're being wrong. If the other people take it, wrong when you do tell them that, when it's their, it's their fault. It's their bad, as we say. We should just get on with life and try and enjoy things, because we need to raise that wall. Because if you think about it, we as a community are looking into our own truths, because it paints a better picture. I've always said that. But when we're all together, not obviously singing in the same hymn sheet, the hymn sheet, but you can disagree and still fight a common cause, and that is the evil and the Kabbalists. So when we form together, We are forming a wall that's keeping evil at bay. And yes, evil will seep through the cracks. You know what I mean? But we have to be the better masons. And that's what I really didn't go into on this video, is the fact that why do we have secret societies and they're called masons, free masons? Did they free themselves from the original masons, the stone builders? Stone builders, what did they build? Oh, temples and walls. Is that why they are so like seeps in, claw in on us as people? And I'm not talking about the mere low level Freemasons. I'm all about evil higher up, and because there's different types of, obviously the people believe it goes up to 33 in the York, but I believe it goes higher. There's an Egyptian rite that goes up to 90. I've shown people like that on social media, and there could be something else, because when it's a society and it's secret, we don't know. So we've only been shown what we've been shown. Do you know what I mean? With our eyes, our law, our wall, and we just have to keep at what we're doing. So you can see now why Freemasonry is everywhere amongst us, because they are the Masons. Yes, they're free from the original Masons. Maybe the original Masons were the builders, the giants. Who knows? Because like I said, we can just theorize on that and show evidence for this, for that, because there's so many opinions on the so-called precursors, and I've done many videos on that and got reminded yesterday that before Adam, the original Adam and Eve, the original curse as such, I can't remember what video I talked about that in. Anyway, before the original curse, there were the precursors, and these were the builders, the ancient builders. And were they destroyed? Did they move on to out the more, the outer lands? Did we, the evil, kill them, use their blood and experience to build these magical buildings that are still standing today, and people have a hard act to actually replicate it, because it can say, oh, it's just a cost, but you can just see some of the buildings. And I've always intrigued me is, why did they knock a lot of these red buildings down and other buildings? Is it the fact that they used the blood in it and some remains and didn't want to be found out? See, all this is just theories and me asking the questions, because it's just intriguing me. And I'm just sitting here now because I'm getting ideas in my head. I'm like, Paul, you're not actually filming now. People don't want to sit and stare you, like voyeurism. So, oh my God, I get things in my head. So yeah, that is just, so all this basically was about bricks and how we are metaphorically, because when we are having a bad time, and in our psyche, it said that our thoughts, our brain put up walls to protect us from any more damage. We've seen it referenced many times in films, even in TV. So our psyche is trying to defend us by putting a wall up so we can't get hurt anymore. Or people talk about in romance, you're putting up the wall between us and, we can't get on. So there's all references, we've hit the wall. And obviously the Pink Floyd song, We Are Just Another Brick in the Wall, which is the title of the video. And people think, well, that doesn't sound interesting. But I believe it's been very interesting. And I just love how, when you make a video, I always seem to start with one idea. And when I'm reading it, because this is what I do, I make a video, I have obviously a baseline theory of what I'm talking about in the video on topics, and I have a plan of the content that's going in. But as I'm researching, while I'm doing it as well, I come across more things and more things. So I'm adding and I'm adding and I'm adding, and I'm trying to put them together where it actually makes some form of sense. So hopefully this has. And guys, just please comment, like and share, obviously, because that's how we know you've enjoyed the content. Yes, I use this as a video diary and store my warps and weird thoughts, but it's just a pleasure to have what is known to now is the flockers, the people who are supporting me. And people, we all like to have our own space, but we love to interact with like-minded individuals, because that's how you grow as a person and experience. And obviously, the higher you build the wall, the more we can see. And obviously, do the evil, the Kabbalists, the people who want to cheat the growth or the spiritual growth and control, do they have the influx of the doors in the walls? Because you think about it, obviously the worship of Janus, and he is the god of doorways and portals. So if they don't want to build their walls of experience and spirituality, and metaphorically, do they cheat by adding doors? I mean, it's interesting. I mean, do we use them too? So all these things are just interesting things to think about and ponder on, and maybe make other videos in the future. So hopefully, see, I'm just thinking, I'm just like lost. That's an idea. So if you've liked it, like it, comment. That's how I learn from the mistakes, and there'll be probably plenty in this. And I just appreciate your support, guys. It really is humbling, and especially to the new subscribers that are coming over and wondering what the flock is going on. We're a channel like family. The chats are the best. Like I said, I get messaged all the time, guys. This is for the new subscribers. How well people treat you in the chat, that to me is worth every ounce of effort I put in. Seeing people message me just saying, you know, how great you guys act to new subscribers and people, you make them feel welcomed, and that always gets me humbled, and so appreciative for the support that you show me, because we're all in it together. Whether the wall is encompassing us around us, it's keeping us trapped. Because that's the weird thing about walls. They protect you from evil, but also they keep you away from others. So are they making us withdrawn in this climate? You know, 6 meters apart, stay indoors, stay safe. They've taken us away from the other pieces of the wall. Together we are strong and united, and obviously apart it's divide and conquer and destroy. It just seems funny that small pieces of stone, little pieces of stone like that, is called gravel, and that gravel is, you know, grave of the gods. Gravel, E-L. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Again, thank you for the support. Please check out those channels, Paul Cook, because they helped me a lot from coming, you know, restarting my channel again. And when you have good support, guys, you have to thank them and show the love. So there's Paul Cook. You also have Audio Didactic 2, because that's how the channel went, but obviously he's got about 3 or 4 channels. So Audio Didactic and Campbell. And obviously I've talked to Richie from 007, if that's remember, in the chat yesterday as well. So these people are helping us, this channel, get it back to where we was, and I'm just so appreciative for it, guys. And please remember, always wear a smile. Bye guys, take care.